Gemini, welcome to a love reading for May 2019. If you are looking for love, I'm calling this New Love in May reading. It's not supposed to be a clickbaity kind of a title. It's supposed to be kind of like, okay, you want it, claim it, that kind of thing. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So let's see what we get here. Oh, new love. Ace of Cups. Oh, I think I got that for Taurus's reading. I'm going to pick another card just as, a way to clarify it. So we have here the card that would be, this is like the perfect symbol of these types of readings. Ace of Cups, new love, and like an offer of new love, or just starting a new relationship, or you're feeling those first pangs of love. Is pangs good? You're feeling that, and in May, for some of you, the early Gemini people, it's your solar return, and you might be, if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's spring, and spring is in the air, and you're feeling very frisky, and I always think of the spring as such a great time for everything romantic, poetic. There's this feeling of life. I mean, I know that's cliched and everything, but it really does feel like that to me. And so this is the perfect card for somebody who's looking for love in May. And in the past position, we have another Cups card. By the way, maybe the person is a water sign. It's a kind of a unusual combination of water and air, because you're very analytical and they're very very emotional. So you're combining two very different types of energies, and that sometimes can be a little bit tricky. But when I have done personal love readings where one person is like, when there's like a weird combination like that, you can see when you look beyond the sun signs why these two people are attracted. In the past position, we have the Three of Cups. So this could be like meeting somebody through your group of friendships. Maybe you've been kind of just hanging back and enjoying socializing. And this is something that I see with Gemini. And if you have Venus in Gemini, this is enhanced, where you're flirtatious, where you enjoy kind of the lightheartedness of love, but you're not necessarily the kind of person who wants some heavy relationship. The Ace of Cups, though, is a card of like a heartfelt connection. So, actually now, come to think of it, we have all cups on the top level. So if you've been used to being flirtatious and kind of not taking love very seriously, you might find somebody in May that is kind of different than the others. We have here as the higher message the Six of Cups, maybe a soulmate. Maybe this is the person, and that's what soulmate means, because you're combining the word soul with a mate. If you've ever heard the term helpmate used to describe a partner, that if two people are earth signs, they may see the other person as a helpmate, as somebody that can, offers constructive assistance to them in life. But that sense of connection on an emotional level is special. There's no question about it. I can't stress enough how different it is than just having somebody that you are physically attracted to, somebody that you work well together as a team, and you might even end up running a business together, having children together, where you just kind of like operate flawlessly as a couple, but there's a practical side to it. I'm talking about just that sense of devotion to somebody. And with your sign, Gemini, you are like that butterfly that's kind of flitting around. So it takes somebody very special to kind of keep your interest and also to keep you there, because you may be tempted to sample other pollen or whatever. No, I'm getting bees and butterflies mixed up. No, I think butterflies, they pollinate, right? I don't know. I'm embarrassing myself, aren't I? What crosses you is the Judgment card. And this, normally, I talk about legal judgments, and this is also a card of rebirth. But I think in this case, we can look at two other definitions of judgment. First of all, discernment, okay? Having good judgment. Good judgment means you know who is good for you, who is not good for you. A Gemini person may not have good judgment because your premise may be faulty. You may be coming towards relationship in an erroneous way, maybe thinking that it's supposed to be this when it's really that. And an example would be that you are attracted to a person because they are very elusive, and you feel that sense of excitement because you can't really control them, you can't pin them down, kind of like what I would associate a Gemini person with. And this is because this person reflects some of the shadow tendencies of Gemini. And if you are not, if you are somebody who thinks like that, then you may have a hard time understanding that it's not going to be a good fit for a relationship. It might be fun to have an affair with somebody like that, but if you really want something permanent, and if you also want that kind of soul connection, then that person won't be able to give you what you want. So it creates that sense of not getting what you want, and that's not good. Yeah, so that could be happening. That could be one example of what is stopping you from having this happen. So, and what I'm talking about, when I should have given you an example with this reading. So, for instance, let's say in May, and we don't need to just make it about May. Let's say in the next few months, you meet somebody and they really treat you like gold, and they really, express affection to you. I'm not talking about when you first meet them, because that might be like a red flag. If somebody's like, let's get married, let's, move in together. But if they just treat you well and they have really good regard for you, and you think that there's something wrong with them because you have issues about intimacy, you have issues about, getting close to somebody, that can lead to you thinking that this person isn't the right person for you. So that would be a lack of judgment. The other thing, looking at the card of judgment, is being too critical of somebody. And this is kind of like, for instance, Virgo people tend to do this, but you might have the moon in Virgo. And you could even have Mars in Virgo, Gemini, and or even Virgo rising. And so, an overly critical nature is a kind of a protective device, because then you have an excuse for not getting close to somebody. So watch your judgment of others. Obviously, you should have good judgment if you notice certain traits that they have, that you're able to spot it ahead of time. And, okay, I already did that one. The advice is the Eight of Cups. This is walking away from what doesn't serve you. Now, again, another cups. We have 4 cups here. The other thing, too, that I wanted to say about the 3 of cups is this attitude of like partying a lot. For some, it can veer into a drinking problem. And the thing is that if you are surrounded by people who are kind of encouraging you in the wrong way, you may have to leave that circle of people to find the one that is right for you. You know, they say water seeks its own level. And so when you come into a certain group of people, or you associate with a certain group of people, and let's say you go out every Friday night or every Saturday night, the people that will approach you will have a similar vibration to that group. They will tend to kind of be a magnet to that. So if you're around people that don't no longer resonate with you, if you've been more spiritually exploring things, Gemini, and I think that a lot or especially now that Uranus is in your 12th house, I think that you will find that you start to, some of you may even have like experiences that seem very unusual, and psychic experiences, awakenings, what have you, and you will just naturally stop being interested in the same things. It's not even something that you have to exert this great willpower over. But you know, for some of you, you may have quit drinking. Maybe you're in AA and there's a pool, or you know, if not AA, but just, you know, some kind of recovery program, or just if you just had these people that you would associate with when you were partying and stuff like that, you may be turning over a new leaf, but you still have this something that you have to kind of walk away from. Maybe you still are associating with those people even though you're not using. And that's why I say that the people that will probably come to you during that time when you're hanging out with these people might not be the kind of people that you want to have a love relationship with. So it's really about doing your own inner work, I would say. And the outcome is the Temperance card. I didn't even think about that in terms of, you remember the Temperance Union in the 1800s, and this is in America though, where it's like, you know, that it was anti-alcohol. I wonder if they probably were the ones that created that amendment for banning alcohol, the Prohibition period. But in any case, temperance can be about, I mentioned this because the 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land. So we have a lot of water energy surrounding you in May, Gemini. So this can mean that you're experiencing balance. I have this card too that I picked. You know, it's funny. It's like, I'm trying to remember if was, yeah, I picked that Temperance card first just because I noticed it was there. But I also picked first the 2 of Swords. And this is like, I got this for you in a recent reading, and I was saying, notice how the Roman numeral 2 is your sign. And is your symbol, I should say. And the 2 of Swords is a card about having to make a choice, and maybe feeling with the blindfold that the person has on, maybe feeling a sense of that you're not sure, you're not really looking at the situation in a very honest way. You know, you're kind of like deluded about something. And with the Temperance card, this is a card that's associated with Sagittarius, your opposite sign. One thing I want to say about the Temperance card, in terms of timing with Sag, this reading is for May, but in June there will be a full moon in your 7th house of committed partnership in Sagittarius. So that could be a timing thing. So even though I was doing this reading for people who are looking for love, it could be based on that, the first last card with the Two of Swords, that you are still connected to somebody, and that's, maybe that is why the Judgment card is showing up in the challenge position, because you haven't fully left that relationship. I guess, when I saw that Eight of Cups, that was when I first thought about you leaving somebody, but I thought, I don't want to make this another, I don't want to mention any relationship in this reading. I just want to focus on new love. Well, unfortunately, we can't do that, because even when you're looking for a new relationship, an old relationship can still be in the mix. So I realize that not everyone will resonate with this, but if you are somebody who is still legally tied to a spouse, and maybe you're waiting for that judgment, but you want to start a new relationship, understand that it might be something that you have not yet fully walked away from. Maybe you're keeping that person, active in your vibration because you're still speaking to them. And of course, if you have kids with somebody, even if you're getting divorced, it's appropriate to be in contact. So I'm not saying that. But maybe in your mind, if you still have any kind of feelings for that person, who knows? But with the Six of Cups, it's really about true love. It's not about these other things. And sometimes the children, I think that, the Six of Cups can be about children, and sometimes they can keep people, first of all, they can, I was going to say force, two people together, but they can also keep them together past the point where they really feel like they mesh well. So it's sometimes very messy, because there are multiple things to consider, like children, like, I don't know, connected finances and things. But the bottom line with the Temperance card is balancing your spiritual nature and your material nature, and not allowing yourself to be blinded by something, which is represented by the Two of Swords, which is, creating maybe a false choice of thinking that, if you're looking for a new relationship, do you have that love? The Ace of Cups is about love. That's the important thing. So anyway, that's what I have for you, Gemini. If you would like a personal relationship, please click the link below and check out my website. It's rainamoon.astrology.com. Take care. Bye.